We're ranking every commander from Phyrexia, all will be one.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ. That makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. You already knew that because you were thinking, I want to support these two people, so better go to patreon.com where you can give us direct money and help make the channel directly better, visibly better. We'll make these intros less terrible, and we will love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable.
So that's how you support us directly. If you'd like to support us indirectly, you can use our TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. Go there, buy the card you're going to buy anyway. All of these commanders are for purchase on the website. Whoa! Get them there, and guess what? As long as you start with our affiliate link in the description below, you support the nerds.
And who else is supporting the nerds? What's Maraschiello.com? There's going to be an ad somewhere, and you're not going to be able to guess where it is, but you're welcome to try. Happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is today.
Yes, so let's hop into it. We have ranked every single commander ever in the past.
Pretty cool.
Everyone that's ever been made up to Obi-Wan. So now we have to add to this master list, which there is a link, because BZ remembered to put it there this time, in the description to the whole master list. We have to add in all of the Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One commanders.
Oh yeah, as always, we got a power scale of 50 that's based on power, fun, artwork, coolness, uniqueness, all contributing factors to what makes a cool commander. This is not just a power list. Go somewhere else for that, or just look at the first number and go, okay. But we are going from worst to best, and the first/worst commander in the entire set is Malkator, Purity Overseer. He's ranked all the way down at 1,364th, above Sun Quan and below Sazdek. 1 white blue for a 1/1 Elephant Wizard. When he enters the battlefield, you get a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem, and at the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter under your control this turn, you get another 3/3 Phyrexian Golem. And that's like 2 or 3 Phyrexian Golems, and they don't do anything.
This is pretty close to a 0 for power. It is vanilla, doesn't do anything, barely gives you anything. It's basically 4 power for 3 mana, and then you can get more if you make 3 artifacts enter. This card is really, really bad. There's not much to do with it, so it's not going to be a very fun deck. Art, you're going to notice going forward, there's a lot of good art in this set. I will try and put the best arts on screen. He just looks really, really cool in his ink splatter art. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think it's the ink splatter. He was like an intelligent Loxodon, and Jynxtaxias was like, I'm going to complete you first, and you're going to oversee a bunch of stuff. This is more of a limited and standard build-around card. It's not really for us.
Yeah, and just to bring up one last thing about this card, it is a 1/1. In the lore, it specifically says
he's very powerful.
He's big, strong, powerful, and almost perfect. So Jin made him better, and he's a 1/1.
He's a 1/1.
Why is he a 1/1? He's a big, giant elephant.
Yeah, elephant, 1/1. Robot elephant, also 1/1.
Is this probably the smallest elephant ever made? There's no way we have another 1/1 elephant.
But we do have another bad card. It's Miglos Maze Crusher down at 1356, above Captain Vargas Wrath, below Blind Seer. 1 red green for a 4/4. He enters with 5 oil counters on him. You pay 1 and remove 1 oil counter to give it Vigilance and Menace. Pay 2 and remove 2 to give it +2/+2, or pay 3 and remove 3 to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Fortunately for our boy Miglos, that last ability kind of saves it from being a 1 or a 0, but it still almost doesn't really do anything. This is like another standard card.
Yeah, all the actual power for this card for other formats comes from the fact that it's a 3-mana 4/4. That's
with more words.
With more words, and that's what's really powerful about it. That's not powerful in Commander, unfortunately. Again, there's nothing to do here, so it's not going to be a fun card. Splatter art, really, really cool. This dude, I actually remember this one's lore. He was hanging out in the forge, and he's like, I want to go other places. So he tunneled, and he went to the jungly part.
The Hunter's Maze.
The Hunter's Maze, and he was like, ooh, I like this too. So he's like, nah, I like both.
So he hangs out. Like, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, it wasn't that cool.
That's a flavor Texas. Now I like both.
Now.
Next is Rook Hexgold Nabber at 1257, above Timon and below Goreclaw. 2 and a red for a 2/2 Trample Haste Goblin Rebel. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than Rook Hexgold Nabber attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rook.
Yeah, we're back to the I don't know what we're supposed to do with this again.
This is a commander card.
This card doesn't really do anything. It kind of cheats equip costs if it's already equipped. I get it. It does have good synergy with living weapons and for Mirrodin. But that's not good enough in Commander. This is just a 1 for power. It's not very strong.
Yeah, it puts you in mono red. I don't really like anything this card is doing. And oh my god, like this character, I have never seen a character after reading the lore for that character get done more dirty than Rook Hexgold Nabber. You read the flavor text and it's like, goblins like shiny things. And it's like a Hexgold Nabber. So I assume he's just like running around stealing stuff from people. No, this is the person who invented Hexgold, the like biggest weapon evolution in the history of the Mirren's resistance, and he is stealing it from the Phyrexians trying to learn from it. So I don't know what is going on.
Yes, what hex gold is, for you people who don't know, it's a metal that can't be corrupted. So
Yeah, it keeps people from getting Phyrexis more.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you wear it as armor, they can't get through it. If you wear regular armor, they're really, it turns out metal easily corrupted.
This person is a genius, and Wizards is just like, he likes shiny stuff.
Shiny goblin. Yeah, he got did dirty, like you said. This is a little unique though. Moving things as you attack or as they die is a unique type of thing.
Yep, let's go to Kinzu of the Bleak Coven, 1148. Above Orca and below Kresh the Bloodbraided. 4 to black for a 5/4 flying Phyrexian vampire. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you can pay 2 life and exile it, and if you do, you get a token that's a copy, except it's a 1/1 and has Toxic 1. This is a cool design. I mean, it's the strongest commander we've seen so far. I think exiling it from the graveyard's kind of weird, and Toxic 1 is not great because I don't think you're building this as an infect deck, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I can think of you want to do with this deck. You would want to build it as an Aristocrats deck, and it kind of suffers there because the exile stuff from your graveyard, and Aristocrats deck love playing with their graveyard. So I think that's not a great option. The other option I think is to play a lot of unblockable 1/1 type creatures, so that you can just get them all down, Ornithopter, all of this kind of
Changeling
stuff,
Outcast.
and then just sacrifice them and give them Toxic and go for an infect kill that way. Both of them not that strong, but it's not nothing. This is the most powerful card we've seen so far. Granted, we're only 4 in.
Kind of like this with like Dothy Voidwalker, because it's unblockable, and you can sack and cast something, and then exile and get another one.
Yeah, that is a nice little synergy. This card won't be fun because people don't like being infected. You're going to see consistency on this list where we know Toxic Infect is not a thing that people enjoy playing against, so it will get lower fun grades when it is involved in the card.
Yeah, we try to keep in mind what generally people think, even though for us, I almost don't care at all about poison.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent, but we try and take in the general opinion of poison, which is
poison bad.
Poison bad. The art for this one is one of the most medium arts we have. We don't have an alt art, I think, for this.
It doesn't get lower than this.
Yeah, the 5 is like the lowest you're going to see. Good art. Do we remember this thing's lore?
Yeah, it's part of Vran, the Executioner Thane's coven of assassin vampires, which is like less cool than it sounds.
Yeah, and then nothing about this is a very cool card. This text is unique, pretty unique within itself. We've only seen it on like a demon before.
Yeah, non-legendary demon.
Yeah, so let's move on to Thrun, Breaker of Silence.
He's sitting at 1091. We're crawling up the list. Above Inquisitor Eisenhorn and below the Raven Man. 3 green for a 5/5 troll shaman that can't be countered with trample. It can't be the target of non-green spells your opponents control or abilities from non-green sources your opponents control. And as long as it's your turn, he has indestructible. Normally that text is pretty sweet. Having indestructible on your turn means you can wipe the board and make sure that Thrun's the only one left standing. We're green. Only green. You can't do that.
Yeah, literally the only card that does that is Oblivion Stone. So it's like you have a one nice little combo with this card, but even that's like not that good. So 1 for power. This thing does not do anything. And again, when these cards are so weak, there's nothing to build around. You can't have fun with this card, and your opponents aren't going to enjoy it. It's hexproof. It's hard to remove. Nobody wants to play against that. That said, this is our first instance of the alt art what if scenario.
Yeah, what if Thrun got corrupted? Here you go. It looks amazing.
Thrun is not corrupted, so what if he was? Whoa! Thrun looks really cool if he was corrupted. Kind of wish he was.
Yeah, I kind of wish they gave Thrun a little bit of toxic, but he's hard to kill. He's mostly stats. He does have trample, so you could do some kind of Voltron thing. That will not be very fun for your opponents, but you could do it.
Yeah, he also, the card Storyteller Staff, I believe, has him on it, even though it's a white card. I think that's him. I don't know who else it would be.
He's got a white staff.
He's the last troll, right?
No, he's not, because there's just like, I don't know if he's the last troll, like, he's not the last troll alive, because there's just a comment from the set that's like Oil Gorger Troll.
Well, then he might be the last.
Maybe he's the last one not infected?
Not infected, yeah.
What set is he from? Is he from Mirrodin?
He's from like Scars of Mirrodin, yeah, or something.
So they all got infected like right away?
Yeah.
Are they stupid?
So Thun's just the last troll.
All right.
All right, let's go on to the next one, which is Venser, Corpse Puppet.
He's ranked 1,043 above Tuya Bearclaw and below Mahadi. Blue-black for a 1/3 with lifelink and Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. You either make a 3/3 legendary Hollow Sentinel Artifact Phyrexian Golem creature token, or target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. Well, he doesn't only make a 3/3.
This is really bad. I mean, this is much like the other card. What saves this card? It's not fun. It's not good. What saves this card is, 1, the alt art. It's one of the coolest of the ink splatter arts. It's really, really cool. And Venture's lore, he was already a 10 before this set, and now his corpse was turned into a puppet by a giant Memnite. It's puppeted by a giant Memnite.
Like, there's so many cool words in this. A giant Memnite repurposed his corpse, which now has no soul and no Planeswalker Spark or anything, and he
But
still
it still has
has
memories.
enough memories to make the hollow construct thing look like his buddy Karn.
Yeah, the Howl Sentinel, the token it makes, looks like Karn still.
It's really sad.
It makes me think that we're going to save at least a couple characters.
Certainly not Venser.
Maybe Venser.
He's so dead.
He is dead.
He has like no limbs.
You underestimate the power of the Planeswalker Spark.
He doesn't have a Planeswalker Spark. He gave it to Karn.
No, Karn's gonna
And then he died.
give it back.
Karn's in pieces.
You know, Karn still has his, right? He's got it.
All right, let's go to Vran, Thane of Execution. This is the most important character in the whole story, actually. We'll get to that in a minute. But he's ranked out at 1,041 above Mahadi and below Anya, Maid of Dishonor. 1 and a black for a 2/2. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, you make each opponent lose 2 and you gain 2. That's only once each turn.
But this thing is decently powerful. The once each turn really does take it down. This would be like a 9 for power if it was not once each
This
turn.
is just like double Zulapur Cutthroat
Oh, it would just be amazing.
in the command zone.
Yeah, it would be so insane. But the fact that it's once per turn takes it down to only a 4 for power, still pretty strong. This card is not weak. You just got to have sack outlets that you can use each turn, so you can sacrifice your token, get a token, whatever. All of that kind of stuff. Going to be kind of fun to build. Going to be kind of standard as a mono-black aristocrat.
Pretty
type.
on rails.
Yeah, exactly. The art for this one, medium, in the middle. Varan. BZ, tell us all about Varan.
Well, you liked the ink splatter because it looks less like a Phyrexian. It just looks like some guy.
No, I hate the ink splatter. That's right. I hated this ink splatter art. Just a dude.
He's a dude. So Vran is actually, he's going to, here's his plan. He's going to become the father of machines the next set. Ready? All the Praetors, there's 5 of them, they're going to hire each other to kill each other, which somehow results in 0 Praetors surviving. I guess the last 2 die at the same time. And then Vran's going to become the father of machines. That's what's going to happen for sure.
They're not going to hire each other. They're going to hire him. They hire him to kill all of them. But I don't know how that helps him.
Right, like Urabrask hires him to kill Elishnorn, and then Urabrask dies.
And then Elishnorn asks him to kill Jin. And then Jin asks to kill
no,
Vorinclex.
buddy, I don't think so. I don't think you're going to make
Your
it.
plan's not getting there. No.
I don't think we'll ever hear or see Vran again.
This is really stereotypical aristocrats, but it is a unique line of text for the command zone for sure.
Yes. Here's another weird line of text. It's Kethek Crucible Goliath at 839 big jump below Raynar and above Jolrael, Empress of Beasts. 2 black red for a 4/4 Phyrexian beast. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you reveal until you hit a non-legendary creature with lesser mana value, and you put it on the battlefield, and the rest go on the bottom in a random order, as they usually do. So it can only ever take a creature in play and give you, theoretically, a worse creature.
Yeah, there's not much to do with this card, right? Like, if you cheat in a big giant drop, okay,
Something with Delve, whatever.
Gurmak Angle, yeah, all of that kind of stuff. Then you're kind of cheat mana, but then you can just hit a 1 or a 2 drop. So it's like, how do you build this deck in such a way that you can both play big creatures and hit big creatures? It doesn't feel like there's much of a way to go. Feels pretty weak, and it'll be kind of fun to build, but it's not going to get there, I don't think.
I like that you can spin the wheel. It's not great, but it is pretty fun to do that. I mean, this ink splatter, also amazing. There's a lot of them. I don't need to spend too much time on the ones that are just obviously amazing. You can see it.
Yeah, I remember this. It kind of looks like, I think in the ink splatter art, it looks like...
Oh, yeah, you said it looked like a Megazord.
It looks like one of their robots.
Sorry, one Zord.
Yeah, it looks like the one regular Zord, like the saber-toothed tiger. Like, it just looks like that. This was actually made by Shieldred and Urabrask because they're unlikely allies because they both don't really like Elishnorn that much. So.
Yeah, they were like starting a war against her, but as far as I can tell from the story, that only ever amounted in like a weird distraction that seemed to not even matter. I don't know what happened. Well, there was no war at all mentioned.
Yeah,
Elishnorn's just invading the plains like uninhibited.
They can't. Phyrexians really don't get along. It was never a thing in the past. Phyrexians were all like under one thing. It's the mana, right?
I think they were all just basically mindless robots.
Yeah. Now that they actually have
like personalities.
Yeah, and like it's the mana that did that. Colored mana makes them actually have personalities.
Super cool.
Because they were all this mono black before.
Time for Kemba, Ka Enduring at 836 above Gien and below Inferno of the Star Mounts. 1 and a white for a 2/2 cat cleric. Whenever it or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, you can attach an equipment to that creature. Equipped creatures get +1/+1, and you can pay 5 and make a 2/2 white cat creature token. There's a lot of words here, and I don't think any of them really amount to that much. You're not going to play cat tribal and equipment tribal in mono white, are you?
I mean, the one thing that is this deck's really good at, is playing, what is it called? The giant hammer.
Hammer was that?
No, the giant hammer.
Colossal hammer.
Colossal hammer, yeah. This deck is really good. That card is actually legitimately probably one of the best cards in this deck. It always is. You just get to free equip it all the time. That's what this deck is good at. If there is equipments that are cheap with high equip costs, it is really good with those. Still not too much to do there. It's mono white. You're going to struggle to make a super functional deck. Like you said, are you going to play cats and equipment?
That's kind of cool.
Those are 2 niche strategies.
Oh, and then Kemba's oil art where she's converted to Phyrexia. That's so sick.
They're all sick. They're
all amazing. They're really, really cool. Kemba doesn't really do much for having survived like the entire time. She's just kind of there.
Kemba has become more modest, as we know from Kemba's old art. Lots and lots of cat cleavage that BZ loves.
That is my least favorite art on like any Magic card. It's the first Kemba.
Loves cat cleavage.
At least she put on some armor.
She put on armor, and she's still got some cleavage. Like, she's got modest cleavage.
You can leaving the fans wanting more. I don't know who the fans are. It's not me.
It's not you. I mean, we know who. It's the furries. It's the furries.
Oh boy, I'd love to go on to Ovica Enigma Goliath at 683 above Nihilor and below Anrakir the Traveler. 5 blue-red for a 6/6 flyer with Ward 3 and 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get X 1/1 red Phyrexians, where X is the mana value of the spell, and those guys gain haste until end of turn. So it's just like a big, giant spell slinger thing. If you don't untap with it, you feel completely miserable. And if you do untap with it, you probably win.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily winning, but you're going to make a lot of goblins, deal a lot of damage.
You're going ham.
And you're going to absolutely go off with this card. It's decently good at protecting itself. It does struggle a little bit because by the time you play this, everyone else also has 7 mana, usually.
Yeah, I feel like you just kind of need all the free counter spells to protect this, or else we're playing it on, turn 11?
Yeah, I mean, this card I think is solid. It's going to make a lot of creatures fast. It's going to be very powerful if and when it stays in the battlefield. This will not always be answered, obviously. Spellslinger is fun for you mostly, and usually not fun for your opponents, depending on the deck.
It's not the most fun to play against. I think this deck will be more fun than usual because you're just going to die. If they do their thing, you're not sitting there for 10 minutes, you're just dead to 20 Phyrexians.
Yeah, and I really like this thing's other art. It's got a bajillion eyes, and it's spooky, and it's got a million arms.
Like a cloak or something?
And also, I really like it. It made itself an overseer. Basically made itself. Which is weird, and it gave itself as many eyes as it would need to be the Overlooker.
Yeah, I don't know where all these giant monsters on Phyrexia are coming from. We'll see a lot more later.
They it said he made himself, and he's like, I need more eyes. Because at some point he had 10 eyes and went, I need more eyes.
I need an 11th eye.
I need more eyes.
And I need Ixal, Scion of Atraxa. She is ranked at 669 above Feather and below Nylea, God of the Hunt. 1 white, black, green for a 2/5 flying, Vigilance Toxic 2, Phyrexian Angel. Corrupted at the beginning of your end step. Each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters. Exile the top card of their library face down. And it's got the usual, you can play those cards forever text.
The strength of this card comes from the fact that it is a flying 4 mana flyer Vigilance Toxic 2. That's what the power comes from. The rest is gravy. It's not weak. It's not nothing. But the drawing off our opponent's deck is not what we're here for. We're here to start the Toxic train with Ixal. Again, loses fun because this is a toxic deck, period.
Yeah, you're corrupting people really easily. 2 hits, they're corrupted. You're playing probably all of the Glistener Elf, Bilious Death Touch thing, Crawling Chorus, all the 1-drops with Infect. You're just going to get them corrupted and then either ride the value train or finish them off with Proliferates.
Yeah, this is one of the arts I don't really like that much. It's kind of confusing. It's not bad. It is good art, but it's confusing, and I don't understand what's going on in it.
Yeah, the wings, I know they're wings. They have a bunch of holes in them. I don't know how you're supposed to fly with holes in your wings, but they're one's really in the foreground somehow. So I don't know what she's doing, if she's swooping. Ixal's kind of cool. Atraxa. Well, Elishnorn made Atraxa, and Elishnorn's like, hey, control all the other Praetors. And then Traxa's like, okay, I need help. So Traxa makes Ixal, and then Ixal helps control all the other Praetors. And then Ixal assassinates Geth, who we'll see later, and then takes his body and a couple other bodies to then assemble Vishgraz, who we'll see later. But 2 steps up, Atraxa doesn't like Vishgraz, so Ixal abandons Vishgraz and then is kind of a defector at this point.
I don't know what's going on. The Ixal story is
like Star Wars. Everybody's everybody's mom.
Everybody's mom? Is that even true in Star Wars?
Well, everybody's dad. It's all familial.
Sure. It is called the Star Walker Saga. So
is it now? The Star Walker Saga.
Yep.
That's what my mom would say.
The Star Walker Saga.
Yeah. On to Malira, the Living Cure, 606 above Hamza, below Nicol Bolas. Green-white for a 3/3, Legendary Human Scout. If you would get 1 or more poison counters, instead you get 1, and you can't get more this turn. You can exile her to choose another target artifact or creature. When it's put into a graveyard, you can bring it back to the battlefield.
This thing is Safi Eric's daughter, but it exiles itself. It has no combo, so it's much weaker than Safi Eric's daughter. And the rest of the text about Toxic does not matter at all, because how often are you going to play against a Toxic deck?
But even so, how many what are you getting attacked for, like 85 poison? You're still taking 1. I don't want to take any.
It's silly. It doesn't really do much of anything at all. It's not a very powerful card. It's not a very fun card. I love the what if art. She can't really be corrupted, so her body's just like inside of a Phyrexian golem.
Like a Phyrexian just kind of absorbed her, and she looks like she's still
alive.
She's still mentally there, and she hates it. Like, she just can't be corrupted, but now she's stuck forever.
She's stuck inside of a golem.
Super cool. Super cool.
Really gross.
She's like the cure for Phyrexia, kind of, for whatever plot reason. She's just randomly immune, and literally nobody else is. So it's not even like, oh, hey, 1% of Mirrans are immune. It's like, no, it's basically just Melira for some reason. So she, at some point, I would imagine, is going to sacrifice herself, like the card does, to save somebody.
What I think about Melira is that Mirrans were all brought in from different planes, like randomly by Memnarch, right? So she could just be from somewhere that is potentially immune to Phyrexia, or came up with the cure to Phyrexia.
Well, he plucked a lot of the same races, though, where he's like, okay, Loxodon, Vidalcan, humans, elves, vampires.
They didn't necessarily come from the same plane.
Maybe Melira is just from a random other plane. Yeah. I don't think she ever mentions it, though.
She's originally from...
No. I think it's like she's the descendant of somebody from a different plane, so maybe that's something.
Maybe that plane. Where the plane that they came from had already, like, the vaccination for Phyrexia.
Yeah, they already had Phyrexia. It's like, oh, you guys have Phyrexia over there? We got rid of that years ago.
Yeah, we cured Phyrexia forever ago.
We're social distance from them. Karamonix the Rat King is ranked at 579 above Lagomos and below Sephrus. It's a 3-mana 3/3 with Toxic 1, and your rats get Toxic 1, and it enters and looks at the top 5 cards for rats. This is like, I don't know why we keep needing rat commanders, but I don't like them. I'm bored.
I'm fine with rat commanders. There's nothing wrong with making a rat commander, but why do we make this right after making Ashcoat, which is so much better of a rat commander? This thing, I don't know. It seems like a fun little rat deck. Everybody likes the rats. I don't think it's very strong, but the art. This thing is so weird. It's like 3 gross rats like combined together.
Yeah, it's nasty. I just don't get. They always print legendary rats, and they never print rats. They're just like, you have relentless rats and rat colony, and we will never print more playable rats.
Not very many.
You get legendary rats only.
Hey, for this deck, you got in the set, you got the Blight Belly rat or whatever it's called.
Boy, did we.
Yeah, so you got 1 rat, so be grateful, Beezy.
I'm grateful for this inked art, which looks amazing. This card is like, the rats were kind of some of the first things to get infected by Phyrexia, because I think they lived close to like the dirty parts where Phyrexia was, and they kind of fused together and somehow gained like sentience.
No, the rats were fine. They kept living fine, but they were breeding.
They overbred and started eating each other.
Yeah, they bred too much. The rats there's a ton of rats on the plane. They started breeding, and then there was way too many rats, and they started eating each other, and then they would fuse together into gross things like.
I think because of Phyrexia's influence.
This thing weirdly is like has control over other rats.
Yeah, it calls itself Karamonix.
But it's like a hive mind type thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's gives me some Stranger Things vibes for fans of Season 3. On to Geth, Thane of Contracts. He's ranked 569 above Garna and below Minsk. 1 black for a 3/4 legendary Phyrexian zombie. Other creatures you control get -1/-1. And you can pay 1 black and tap him to return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, but it gains if it would leave. You exile it instead, and you can only activate at sorcery speed. But Geth is the strongest commander we've seen so far.
Yeah, Geth is totally reasonable. Obviously, you just don't play things that are going to die to his ability, because that would be silly.
Unless it's like Stitcher Supplier, where you're like, cool, I want it to die.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a completely fair thing. You're just going to want to keep getting things back from your graveyard really cheap. I mean, this is a reanimation deck. It's a classic reanimation deck. It'll be pretty fun to do, but there's also the problem with reanimation decks when it comes to fun is often they can get really repetitive. It's like, oh, I'll entomb, put Razaketh, win the game.
Yeah, it's like Villas, Razaketh, even to a lesser degree, like Archon of Cruelty. Like, you're going to see them all the time.
Yes, this art is sort of whatever. I didn't really care for this inked art. It's not bad, but it's not good. And also his other one, his original art, he looks like a cartoon character. He just looks like a weird cartoon character that.
Like from that Secret Lair that they did, which was literally cartoon characters.
It's so weird. Why is he so cartoony?
I hate Geth. I don't know. I don't love this character. I think this character is dumb and is just kind of alive for no reason. But I'm glad in this set he gets his head chopped off by Ixal, so I don't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, this character is very, very similar to. It reminds me of Faldorn, but this is a mono black version.
Felden,
yes, Felden.
Which one's Faldorn?
Faldorn is
the Wolfmaker.
That's the Wolfmaker, yeah.
Well, we got a Might Maker. It's Vishgraz, the Doom Hive. I previously mentioned them like 2 seconds ago. 469 above Iruth, below Dihada. 2 white, black, green for a 3/3 with Menace and Toxic 1. It gets +1/+1 for each poison counter your opponents have. And when it enters the battlefield, you get spotted 3 Mites with Toxic 1. So I'm kind of thinking like you could totally go a route where you just flicker this, make 1,000 Mites and overwhelm people. But also this thing goes really big, so you maybe even just sprinkle some poison and then start commander damaging people.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of this card's power, again, comes from the fact that it just has Toxic. It makes Mites with Toxic, and that's pretty much what we're getting here. There's ways to start the Toxic train going. Again, Toxic not very fun, so we're stuck in the same place. This art is really cool. I don't know what this thing actually is. I don't know what, like, Geth's head. This thing is supposed to have Geth's head.
I thought it did in the story. It might be like it originally had Geth's head, and then Ixa like improved upon it because she took parts from a bunch of different people. And then when she sent it on a rampage to go do stuff, it like didn't listen to her. All the different parts of it had like the memories of the creature that they took it from. Big Unwind vibes for fans of that series. This is just like also not a 3/3 because this thing looks huge.
Yeah, they're weird. Yeah, this is like just like the elephant that is somehow magically a 1/1. How is this a 3/3? This thing's gigantic and scary.
It takes up like the whole screen. There's nothing else on screen. It's just Vishgraz.
Yeah, this thing is fairly unique overall. It's an but it is just an infect toxic, whatever you want to call it, Commander.
Let's get away from the infect. Let's go to Chisgoria, Furnace Tyrant, 437, above Tivit and below Dragonlord Silumgar. 6 red for a 5/4 with affinity for artifacts, flying and haste, and when it attacks, exile the top 5 cards of your library, and you may cast an artifact from among them. If you do, and there's affinity for artifacts. It wants you to play a bunch of artifacts, and this is like a deep cut reference to Scale and like whatever the other one, Tooth of Chisgoria from like the first Mirrodin block.
Yeah.
Mirrodin's used this as armor, like his fallen scales and stuff.
This card is easily going to cost 3 red mana. That's all it's going to cost you. Your deck is going to be built to take advantage of this. It's really strong.
It triggers right away.
It triggers right away. You play it, it has haste, you start beating him for 5 damage in the air, casting free artifacts, and the fact of the matter is, whatever artifact you hit is most likely going to cost absolutely nothing, because now it has affinity for artifacts, ups your artifact count. Obviously, the weakness of this deck is going to be that you're very, very high artifacts, you're always going to be weak to your Vandalblast type effects.
Yeah, you want like all the extra combats too, probably.
Yeah, this deck is just strong. I really just think it's going to be fun, it's going to be strong, it's a mono red deck, it's not going to be overpowered. Nobody's not going to have fun playing this mostly.
Yeah, you're going to get your head kicked in though if you don't kill Chisgoria.
Yeah, the card is really strong. I mean,
it's really good. It's the strongest commander we've seen so far.
It is, and it's gonna stay strong for a little bit. Like, we're gonna get stronger commanders, but this card is really, really good. Art, it's just a big, giant, scary-looking dragon. This one's from the commander set, so it doesn't have the alt art.
You've seen a dragon breathing fire before. It always looks cool.
Yeah, it's done well. It's done super well. This thing is, mono red artifacts is not the most unique, but I think that the lines of look at the top 5 and giving an affinity for artifacts and having affinity for artifacts are all unique enough to do it. Does this thing have any story? Oh, nothing can get near it. It's not corrupted because nothing can get near it because it kills everything that gets near it.
It just kills all the Phyrexians.
And they use its scales to make armor, right?
The Mirrans should have thought of that. Just kill all the Phyrexians, and then they can't corrupt you.
Exactly. That's what gets literally what Chisgoria does. Just if any Phyrexian gets near it, just kills it.
We're on to Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. He's a big boy. 431, so we're getting pretty high. Above Low-Shield and below Karazakar. It's an 8-mana, 7/5 Juggernaut that says all your Juggernauts have to attack each turn, and they can't be blocked by walls. And then other creatures you control are 5/3 Juggernauts. Your whole team crashing in. This is a big colorless overrun. Don't play the big artifacts, play all the tiny ones and the card draw so that you can overwhelm people with Ornithopters that are actually Juggernauts.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to make everything into Juggernauts. This thing is not as creepy and Phyrexian as it looks. It's not. It's just a leveler. If you remember the card Leveler, old cut. Yeah, this is
Memnarch days.
Yeah, from the Memnarch days. This is a leveler that just keeps leveling things. It hasn't stopped.
Didn't get the memo.
It didn't get the memo. It's okay. I absolutely adore this it's alternate art. I think this is the first one we're seeing where it's really weird. Like, I don't know what these arts are called. They're like in black and white.
I couldn't tell you.
And they're very specific. It's a showcase type art, but it's super cool. And for some reason, Graz looks super cool, but then in the middle, it's like it's got a little like alien face
or a mask or something.
It literally looks like the old alien faces that you would see on like
like a Halloween mask.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looks, or it even looks like kind of like the Scream mask, like Ghostface.
This is Ghostface. That's the big reveal of this set, that Graz was Ghostfaced in all the Scream movies.
Yeah, somebody had to have been there the whole time, right? We're getting there.
Yes. Gale Weathers was there the whole time. We had, you know what else was there the whole time when we were making all these videos? It's Moxfield.com. Their website. They will be there for you. Just like Gale Weathers was for the Scream series. This Moxfield is the Gale Weathers of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Moxfield.com is the best deck building website out there, period. And as cards are spoiled and as you're seeing these new cards, you can, as long as they've made it on the Scryfall, which they always have right away, you can just start building these decks right away. These decks are not even technically, no, they are legal because they become legal as of the pre-release for Commander. But even when they weren't legal, you could have built a whole deck beforehand. And you know what Moxfield.com is doing right now? They have an account controlled by Harry and John of Moxfield, and they put all of the pre-con. So if you want to see any of the pre-con lists, just go to Moxfield, follow their Wizards account, and while you're there, follow our account too. But you can see all the decks. They went back so far. It's like, hey, you want to see the
Counter Punch
from
2011?
Want to see the 1996 World Championship deck? It's here.
Perfect. Yeah, so Moxfield, if you're not there, you're missing out. Go do that right after you finish watching this video.
Go do Moxfield.
Which continues with Rhea Evor, Bane of Bladehold, sitting at 419. Right below Keranos, God of Storms, and right above Ken from Street Fighter. 2 black-white for a 3/4 with Battle Cry at the beginning of combat on your turn. The next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 Phyrexian Mites with Toxic 1. I don't really understand why it says the next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players. How is a creature dealing combat damage to more than one player?
I don't really understand what this card is going for at all. Like, I get it. Everything is a Hero of the Bladehold until that line.
Right, it's like, 3/4. This is Hero of Bladehold. This is literally that character from the story. 3/4 Battle Cry, and then what?
And then some weird line of text that like doesn't apply at all. This card is not very strong. I mean, you have to choose a creature, give it this ability,
give up damage,
then get the mites, and then hit with the mites to have gotten anything out of this card whatsoever, other than it prevented damage from being done.
Yeah, I don't know. I do love everything flavor-wise about this. I love that she's fused to the horse that she was on. Super sweet. Rhea was on a bunch of campaigns. She built an army. She was great, and then the only reason she got corrupted was because she sacrificed herself to save a bunch of people.
She's a good person. The ink art, the ink splatter art is really, really cool.
There's purple in it, right?
The purple, yes. They have, so all of the arts, the ink splatters will have the colors that the card is. So for black, it's purple.
It's like splatters kind of like, white peachy kind of, or black. Purple.
Like black is like what the art all is, but like there's always purple and
yeah,
like the white splattered in there to make it look even extra cool. And this is a very unique card. It's just really, really not good.
Yeah, it's really, really not good.
It's like that line of text says, it's like, okay, that's a weird line of text, but what do we do with this?
Huh? Got one or more creatures? Someone explain the one or more creatures to me, please. We saw both the commanders from the Abzan precons, but now we're on to the white-red precon. This is Othari, Sun's Glory, 414 above Belbay and below Dina, Soul Steeper.
Little Golgari sandwich there.
3 red-white for a 3/3 flying lifelink haste. When it attacks, you get an experience counter. Then you also get a 2/2 red rebel that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. And you can pay 2 red-white and tap an untapped rebel you control to return Othari from your graveyard just straight to the battlefield. This is like a lot of words. It's one of the best experience counter commanders I've seen. And it just never dies.
Yeah, you just get this thing going really, really fast. You play it, it has haste, you immediately get an experience, and every single turn is getting more and more of these tokens. And it's tokens, they're not all going to die in combat. Bring it back. You can also play any other type of rebel. You can play changelings to make sure this thing isn't staying in your graveyard.
Yeah, Othari is really good, really cool. I love the Phoenix Firebird type deal. She's Rayali, or is it Nayali?
Nayali.
Nayali's pet, Phoenix. And they're like doing badassery, mirroring things together.
It looks really, really cool. What I love about this art. I don't think it's the best art, but it's like blue fire wings look really cool. And in the background, we can see all 5 of the suns.
Yes, and it's the Sun's Glory. And this is like one of the highest uniqueness grades we can give, because this is Boros, experience counters, Phoenix, Rebel, return to the battlefield, and a good ability. Like, there's so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lot of Nothing super crazy that we've never seen before, but it's all put together into a very unique card.
I think this might be the coolest Boros commander, period.
It's definitely a really, really cool. Though we have to mention, coolness is not based on the coolness of the design of the card.
It's the character in universe.
Yeah, character. Maybe we should change that to character.
So we mentioned Graz's entire character was he didn't get the memo. Here's another person who's the exact same character. This is Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch, sitting at 409, above the Swarm Lord, below Hannah, ship's navigator. 3 mana 2/2 artifact mirror. Whenever you cast a mirror spell, you get a 1/1 mirror. At the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control, and you can pay Wooburg and tap it and put 3+1/+1 counters on all your mirror, but only at sorcery speed. Theoretically, you could do this twice on your turn, once before and once after combat if you just have Door to Nothingness mana sitting around.
No, you don't have to have Door to Nothingness mana. You have to have... If you have all 5 of the mirrors that make mana on the battlefield, you tap all of them, you tap this, and then they all untap, and then you do it again.
Wow, it's that easy, folks. As far as this card is obviously weak. It's just obligatory Wooburg commander for the set. Mirror finally has a thematic commander. That's great for them. I'm happy. It's the funnest thing ever. Mirrors are very harmless and very fun. And I think this character is very misleading because this is as much the Remnant of Memnarch as I am the Remnant of my dad.
The Remnant.
It's literally just one of Memnarch's dudes. There is no Memnarch here. It's from the Memnarch era who doesn't stop doing his job, just like Graz. Kind of hate the name.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. It's not really the. It seems cooler than it is because when the actual character's lore kind of stinks. Though I could see a lot of people grading this higher for coolness because it does. When you don't read the lore, it's cool.
When you don't read it, it seems good. It's whoa, is Memnarch going to come back? No, he's dead.
No, he's actually dead, and this is just a guy who remembers Memnarch. This is extremely unique. A lot of unique words on it. I think the reason I took off one point is it feels such like an obligatory just
checking a box
tribe commander. It is just a tribal commander. We've seen this kind of thing before. It's still really, really unique. It got a 9.
Somehow the next card, even more unique. It's Skrelv, Defector Might. He's at ranked 381, above Alondo and below Kyrie. White for a 1/1 artifact creature, Phyrexian Might with Toxic 1. It can't block just like all the Mights, and you can pay Phyrexian White and tap it and choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color, and it can't be blocked by creatures of that color. So this is Phyrexian version, also, fun, modern version of Mother of Runes. It doesn't give protection. It just gives all the relevant parts of that without the, weird extra rules baggage.
Preventing damage.
Yeah.
This card is not very powerful, but it's also not doing anything.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's going to do things.
It's always going to come out early. In this, one of its main weaknesses is in mono white. It can start the infect train very consistently. If you on the play, you basically have to choose who do I want to infect right away.
Plus, it gives Toxic 1 to whatever it is, so you don't need to play any cards with Toxic. You're just going to have them hit for Toxic. So, Double Strikers might be cool.
It doubles up. It does 2 little things. It can either protect your creatures, or it can do the opposite, where it's just pushing through one of your creatures with Toxic. 6 again for the fun, because Toxic, not fun.
Yeah, you know what I want to do with this? I want to be have all the untapping cards. Maybe even 1,000-Year Elixir and just make all my creatures Toxic 1 unblockable. I think you can also just target the same creature and stack Toxic on it.
Yeah. If you can keep on tapping it.
Yeah, it's I'll give it Pro Wooburg and 5 Toxic 1s.
Yeah, so it has Toxic 5 in that case. Its art is totally good. It's nothing wrong with it. It's regular art. I think I like more. It's biting.
The hand that feeds?
Some literal, I don't know if it's the hand that feeds, but I like his little story. He's a defector Mite. It's described in his name. He literally doesn't want to do whatever he's supposed to do.
Yeah, so the Mites are meant to carry out some kind of spreading Phyresis processes, but you are supposed to be loyal to the Phyrexia singularity. So if they want to return you and scrap you for parts and you don't do it, you're a defector. And Skrelv's I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? So he's running away.
He started a whole hive.
Yeah.
There's a hive of defector Mites. Skrelv is the leader of it. He started it, and they just... It's weird. Why everything is rebelling against Phyrexia. It's funny.
Skrelv has a better chance of being the next Father of Machines than Vran.
I would love Father of Machines Skrelv.
Yeah, that's what happened. Urabrask overthrows him, and then Skrelv's the number 1 leader.
Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 for uniqueness. All these words, everything it does, is just an incredibly unique card. On top of being a 1 mana, actually pretty good commander.
Yeah, there's no commander that does any of this. We are well past the halfway mark, and we're going to move on to Azuri, Stalker of Spheres, ranked 306, above Jaheira, Friend of the Forest, and below Jan Jansen. 2 blue-green for a 3/3. When he enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. So you can just play them as a 3/3 and start proliferating with your other cards. Or if you got nothing better to do, pay 7 and draw 2 cards.
Yeah. I want to start with unique just for this. It is one of the only things that directly cares about proliferating.
So whenever you proliferate, it doesn't need infect, doesn't need charge counters, it's like proliferate.
Yes, you can consistently get advantage out of it instead of something like Venser, where you can get a golem and then start giving things flying a little bit. It's like not that strong. This is actually a tangible good benefit. It's not that strong though because proliferate is too niche of an archetype. It doesn't have enough support yet to be quite good enough as a deck. Though this card can gain power as we get more proliferate cards.
Easily could. I think Azuri's got a really good story. He's been around forever. He was kind of like one of the first characters to be completed off screen. And so when we saw him again after Scars of Myriad and he was in like Commander Set, we were like, no, they got Azuri. It was just a cool random little Easter egg they threw at us.
Yeah, this is also a super fun deck. I mean, I think Proliferate is going to be great. And you're not going to believe this, but the ink split art actually insanely cool.
I never would have guessed. Next up is another character from the past. This is Slowbad Iron Goblin, ranked 291 above Bladewing and below. Whoop! Spoiler! 2 and a red for a 3/3 Phyrexian Goblin Artificer. Tap, sacrifice an artifact, add an amount of red equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. Slowbad's like the coolest character. He did nothing wrong. He's a hero. He could have been a planeswalker, but he chose to sacrifice himself and save the entire plane instead. And this is the card he got. Not a fan.
For power?
Pretty medium.
Yeah, for power, it's not very good. It's just going to be a standard, like, mono red artifacts, but it's not that strong of a commander. We literally, the one we talked about earlier, was so much stronger.
Have you seen Chiscoria?
Yeah, Chiscoria is so much stronger of a card. It's still going to be a pretty fun deck. Let's get to the 10s. 1, this alt art is amazing. His regular art, also really amazing. He also made himself look like Bosch, his old friend who died.
Yeah, we thought he got killed by goblins at the end of the Mirrodin storyline, but apparently he was just like maimed, and then so like his body sunk into the plane. That's where Phyrexia was chilling in the beginning. So he kind of like accepted getting corrupted because he thought he might be with his friends again, and then he was super like happy to know that Glissa also got corrupted and they can be friends again, and like that's pretty sad. And also his limbs are sheared off.
Yeah, he thanks Phyrexia for reuniting him with his friends, which is like,
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Hopefully they can save him and Glissa. I hope so.
Yeah, Melira can save those two, and then all the idiot planeswalkers can die.
All of them. Every single one of them.
Just the corrupted ones.
Just the corrupted ones?
Yeah, let's be reasonable.
What about Nahiri?
She's corrupted and an idiot. And we just talked about her. It's Glissa Sunslayer, also corrupted. She's 290 above Slowbad and below Carador Ghost Chieftain. She's a 3/3 with first strike and death touch for 1 black-green, so there's just no blocking her. And then when you don't block her, it's great because when she hits, you can remove 3 counters from a permanent, draw a card and lose life, or blow up an enchantment. All great words, just not the most powerhouse, overpowered card. It's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, this card is cool. It does a lot of fun things. A friend mentioned wanting to build a Saga deck with her.
That's pretty cool with the last mode.
You take the counters off the Saga to keep going, which is a pretty cool little thing.
So fair it hurts.
Yeah, this card is like stupid fair. I mean, it's not able. You're not going to kill this thing in combat almost ever. Literally, you have to block with so many. You have to block with
4 3-power creatures.
4 3-power creatures. Doesn't matter what the toughness are, but 4 3-power creatures. So it's just like, what a silly notion. That's not happening.
Yeah, Glissa was the hero of the entire Mirrodin block. She like found the green sun and stuff, and ironic that her finding the green sun would lead to her being corrupted by the Praetor that came from the green sun, because Vorinclex just like snapped it off, made her his lieutenant. She's chilling now. She's pretty happy. She's ruling the Tangle. She completed Nissa, I think. Either her, Vorinclex, or Luca completed Nissa. One of those 3.
No, what? It kind of shows like Elishnorn doing it in the All-Will-Be-One.
Oh, not Nissa. Yeah, Nissa, because Nissa's like off screen.
Oh,
like because Luca is completed and is an idiot, and then they send Luca after Nissa.
Yeah, and I could believe this actually. The alt art, amazing,
so good. I love Glissa. She's one of my favorite cards of all time, really, the original. So I think this return was acceptable. This is a character similar to Rhea Ivor, who is not a legendary character but references another card. It's Unctus Grand Metatect. 281 above Astor, Bearer of Blades, and below Falco Spara. 1 blue for a 2/4 legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Vidalcan. Other blue creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1, and you can pay a Phyrexian blue until end of turn. Target creature you control becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other types and colors. I activate only as a sorcery. Oh my god, it's so many words, but it's actually pretty good. You get a lot of draws and discards. Your creatures kind of get +1/+1. You control that. and it is a solid little dude.
It's mostly going to be a fun card because it's not, like you said, it does things. It doesn't do nothing, but this card is not very strong on average. Amazing art. And what's its story? I don't actually remember this one's story.
So this was one of the first people ever to get corrupted. This is Grand Architect from Scars of Mir, and it's the same character. He was kind of like discovered the oil before, back when it was cool, before anyone even knew what it was. And he like injected into himself and started experimenting.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that's like straight, direct path to Phyrexia of town. So then he like found his former love of his life and then like fused her to his body and then is just doing experiments now.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. I forgot about that part. He did
Pretty weird move, Unctus. Not cool. Kind of creepy.
Yeah, definitely creepy. Oh, my love, fuse with me.
I don't want to have to know where you are. He's very controlling. Now it's time for the other Boros commander from the Precon. It's Naali, Sun's Vanguard at 229. Above Rogrock and below Avacyn, Angel of Hope. This is 2 red, white for a 3/3. Your tokens have double strike, and then whenever your tokens attack a player, so you're going to get up to 3 of this trigger, you get to exile a card from your library, and then you can play it for as long as you attacked with a token this turn.
Yeah, so Naali is pretty strong. The double strike, I love. It's going to draw you cards. You can draw up to 3 cards each.
This card's so sweet. This is like the second coolest Boros commander, and they just like both in the same set nailed it.
Yeah, there's another cool one coming up. They have 3 good Boros commanders in this set that are really cool.
Can't even remember what it is, so I'll just be pleasantly surprised.
You're just going to be pleasantly surprised when there's another cool one. This is going to be an incredibly fun deck. I don't see how it won't be fun to play against or play because it's going to give you the card advantage. You're not going to run out of cards, and you're just going to have big, giant attackers all the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure who would get offended by this deck. Like, oh, double strike? We don't play with that keyword.
Yeah, Naali doesn't have any alternate art because it is the leader of the Precon, but she's one of the rock people.
Yes, she's a Volshock. She's got Falconer gloves that are like specially made to channel her powers with her Phoenix, Othari, and then she escaped a massacre with just the egg, and then the egg hatched and saved her, and now she has a whole roost of Firebird Phoenixes, which is sweet.
Yeah, and she can. I want to know if the Falconer.
Does it lay on her?
Does the bird land on the Falconer glove? It's questions. Can you answer these questions for us?
March of the Machines, please.
Yes, these need to be answered. Give me a dual card with them together.
Partners?
No, just one card. The Holly and the Phoenix, whatever its name is.
All right, now we get to break into one of the coolest cycles from the set that has obviously remained hidden until now because they're pretty darn good commanders. This first one is Solfim Mayhem Dominus above Tassiger and below, spoiler, at 129. 2 red for a 5/4 Phyrexian Horror. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. 1 red Phyrexian, discard 2 cards, put an indestructible counter on Solfim Mayhem Dominus. All of the Domini have that last clause where you can give up some resources and pay Phyrexian mana to make him indestructible, so they're all extra resilient, and they're all going to lose a point for fun. So we can get that out of the way right now because indestructible is harder to kill.
This card is not weak, but it's also not strong, honestly, because it only doubles up your spell damage. I don't know what. I know it's cool and it's not terrible, but like you have to be slinging spells. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with this, honestly.
It's also the hardest indestructible cost to pay. Discarding 2 is a lot, and this doesn't exactly recoup you cards or anything.
You're in the colors that struggle the most with card draw as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty rough. Maybe you have like a Madness sub-theme and you can get around it. Not like Madness cards are that great, though. But the Domini are like the coolest thing. They're like, this is the same for all of them. Basically, the Phyrexian like landscape just kind of birthed them out of like the land. So they're made up of like formerly like mountains and stuff, and they're all just like giant godlike creatures. The lore says we don't know if they're aligned with Phyrexia. Pretty sure they are. I don't know why it even says that.
Well, now it makes me think it's saying that makes me think that they're not, which is weird.
They're all terrible beings. They all do horrendous things. This one commands Phyrexians. How can it not be aligned with Phyrexians? But this was like your favorite lore.
Well, because it's so funny. It commands Phyrexians by writing. It has molten appendages.
Yes.
Which is hilarious to think about. It's molten appendages that it writes inscriptions on the wall that are commands that are all urgent and all contradict each other.
Yes. Each command contradicts the previous one. Plays right into the name. It's like the funniest, most random thing ever. I love it.
Yeah, it makes me think that it's that can make it. I mean, if it's just confusing Phyrexians, then it might not be aligned with Phyrexia.
It doesn't look good.
It definitely does not.
None of them look friendly.
I would agree. This is not a friendly-looking guy, and this is.
This one's a female.
It's another. Oh no! This is the very first of these very cool arts.
Yeah, it's like the big Phyrexian legendaries have not a showcase. They have a showcase and then like this black and white, super dark, whatever you call it.
And like, so it has like, its border is like glowing the color it is. And the mana symbols,
They're like a little off.
They're brighter. And like the black one, instead of having like a dark gray background, has a purple background. They look so cool. Like it makes the mana symbols like glow and look like awesome.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, all the Domini I think have an 8 or 9 for fun, 10 for art, and a 10 for lore. So get ready for Tekuthal Inquiry Dominus at 128, right above Solfim, and right below, spoiler, 2 blue for a 3/5 flyer. Phyrexian Horror, if you would proliferate twice instead. 1 blue Phyrexian, remove 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers you control, put an indestructible counter on it. Same stuff. This one is like similar to Solfim. That's one of the weaker ones because like proliferating, your mono blue, what are you proliferating? And then this one's even a little bit less fun, I think, because if you're proliferating, like poison or something, I hate it.
Yeah, this card is totally whatever. It's just there's not enough mono blue proliferate cards to make this an actual good commander.
I feel like I would lean on poison.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fine. It's not going to be a bad card. Again, look at that showcase art. Absolutely stunning, mind blowing. And this one was funny too.
Yeah,
this one was really like, I don't know why they're so funny. This thing just kind of flies around above people, and he
belittles them.
No, he mimics lesser life forms and mocks them. He mimics and mocks them, which is just hilarious. So let's imagine this like weird jellyfish looking thing flying above you, be like, ooh,
he's just a bully.
He's just a jerk.
And he's playing with action figures. He's playing with the simulation like Urbrask and Vorinclex, and he's like,
yeah, I like to think he's now kiss.
Yeah, or the now kiss meme.
Yeah, he's literally got
he's shipping Praetors.
He's got an Urbrask, and like on the like altar, it's very obvious he's holding an Urbrask, like, or not Urbrask, Vorinclex. It's very obviously a Vorinclex like doll. It's very weird.
And then I think that lets us move right into Zopendrel, Hunker Dominus, 127, above Tekuthal, below Niv Mizzet Reborn. So the streak ends here. 5 green for a 4/6 reach. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn, and you can pay green Phyrexian, and sacrifice 2 other creatures to put an indestructible counter on it. Notably, this is like one of the easiest indestructible costs to pay, and it requires no actual mana to do if you just pay the life. So Zopendrel's got a lot going for it. Plus, it's like an overrun when it comes in right away.
Yeah, exactly. This card is just, its effect has haste, essentially. It is very expensive. The effect is good, though, that it keeps happening over and over and over again.
And it'll stay in play.
It's good at protecting itself because it does have indestructible. Obviously, it has to be hit with that exile things. Actually, you mentioned it earlier, but I want to mention it again. You mentioned that they're light gods. They basically are gods, which is why I think they also get indestructible, which is a classic god ability. That
classic god move.
Yeah, gods have some way to protect themselves from dying. They always do.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, so Phyrexia just kind of created some gods. And this one, I think, is a little funny. Not as funny, but all the Domini obviously have to have some comedy. This one is a praying mantis, so it just bites the head off of stuff.
Yeah, it's a female, yeah, and it just eats the heads off of things.
It just is like, you know what? I'm not a Phyrexian god. I'm also part praying mantis, and I'll just rip your head off.
Which is super weird. And here's the next Boros Commander, BZ.
Yeah, I forgot about it. This is Jorkadeen, first Gold Ward, and he's ranked all the way up at 74, so we're closing up to the top, above Tatsunari Toad Rider and below Heliod Suncrowned. Red-white for 2/2 trample. When he attacks, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then if its power is 4 or greater, you draw a card. Super cheap to cast, super simple design, and it's Boros card draw.
Yeah, this thing costing 2 mana is, I think, what is one of the most powerful parts of this card. You don't really have to do much. All you have to do is equip it with any equipment that pumps its power 1. It attacks, it draws a card, it comes down early. I'm really high on this card. I think it's a very strong commander, and you don't have to go in on it. You don't have to keep putting all the equipment on it. Spread them around. It actually makes him stronger.
I mean, honestly, you don't even have to play equipment. You can just give him 2 counters and draw cards.
That's true. Yeah, he just attacks very easily and draws cards. 10 for fun. This is a great equipment card, I think. I think it's perfect. Altar. It's, again, what if...
Phyrexian Jorkadeen is awesome.
Yes, he looks so cool. I don't like his regular art, actually. I'm not a big fan of it.
It's a little out there. I think it's an artist we've seen before.
Abstract.
Yeah.
It's abstract, and it's fine. I don't really like it, but it's still not bad. And give me some Jorkadeen lore.
We know Jorkadeen. He's a badass from the original Mirrored, and he had like one of the coolest cards. He's just like, as long as I'm alive, there's hope for Mirrored and Pure. So clearly thinks quite highly of himself. He survived this entire time. So I think what we did was we took his lore points last time, which was 8, and now he's up to a 9 because he's alive even longer.
Yes, he just keeps surviving. He's not giving up, and it's pretty unique. But the Boros, where it loses all of its points of uniqueness, is
Boros equipment, eh?
Have we seen this before?
Only a few times. Next is one of the cards in the set that I think generated the most hype for March of the Machines. This is Atraxa Grand Unifier. She's ranked 56 out of every commander ever, above Lord Windgrace and below Peer Imaginative Rascal. She's 3 white, blue, black, green for a 7/7 with Flying, Death Touch, Vigilance, and Lifelink. And then on entry, she goes and looks at the top 10, and you get one of each card type into your hand. So, notably, Tribal still works. It's not on the card, but it works because they don't care about it for Standard. And Battle is coming as a new card type in the next set.
Yeah, which is super interesting. I'm very interested to see what Battle is. It's going to be super cool. This card's just strong because it enters and it's going to draw you 3, 4, 5 cards pretty easily. Even though it is overcosted, what you're going to do is you're going to play out your hand, do everything else before, and then play this and refill your whole hand. This card is fine. I think where it lacks in fun is it's like, what does it actually do?
It asks nothing of you at all. It is so generically powerful that I'm not personally interested in it, but it's a good card.
That's where it loses all of its fun points because it's not this build around, do fun, cool things. It's like
you're gonna see them get Rhystic Study, a fetch land, like Skull Clamp, and like a free counterspell.
No, Narset.
Yeah, Narset too. Throw that in there.
Windfall.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got Narset and Windfall and Rhystic Study. What a wow! Woo! That's because it's just so generically good. And this again. These alt arts with the cool mana symbols, they're so expensive, but God, do I want them.
Yeah, even the other one, the promo one, I opened a foil in the draft. It's like $15, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And that's not even the best one.
It's not even the best one.
And it's still probably a 10 for art on that one. Atraxa.
I think the original's a 10 for art.
Yeah, Atraxa was made by the 5 Praetors. 4
Praetors, because Urabrask not represented. There's no red.
There's no red, yeah. So all the Praetors made Atraxa. She's kind of an overseer. She's supposed to keep all the Praetors in line, but she's not doing that great of a job because the Urabrask children are building roar robots.
What's kind of interesting is I think that some effort and care was put into the power and toughness of all the Praetors relative to each other. Elishnorn dies to none of them except for Shield Red's Death Touch. And then Vorinclex is like physically the strongest. Urabrask can't kill any of them. But then I'm looking at Atraxa and like she's stronger than all of them.
Yeah, but she's not.
No, but she's not. So like I wonder if maybe she'll be like, I'm the new leader.
I'm the new mom.
Maybe. I mean, you don't make a kid that's stronger than you.
What's next?
Next is Elishnorn, Mother of Machines, which is, I guess, stronger than Atraxa because she's higher. This is number 38, above Emrakul, the Promised End, and below Mind Flayer, the Shadow. 4 and a white for a 4/7 with Vigilance, and your permanents entering the battlefield double trigger abilities, and opponents don't.
Amazing.
Strongest card in the set power-wise.
We gave an 8, and it could be up to a 9. I mean, I don't know about a 10, but this card is obviously undoubtedly strong. One of its biggest weaknesses is being a mono white, but it doesn't even matter because the fact of the matter is doubling all UTBs is incredibly strong on everything. And then tied into that, for some odd reason, it's just Torpor Orb for your opponents. And that's what takes this card from like, okay, good, to like, whoa.
It could be backbreaking. I want to see it. So I could see bumping it to a 9. But I could also see bumping it down to a 7, depending on how this commander plays.
I would be surprised.
Don't you dare shut off my Field of the Dead, though. I'm mildly offended, but I am glad that Elishnorn's second coming is also, like, honestly, just as hyped and cool as the first one was.
The thing keeping her from being a very top commander is her fun is obviously not there. I mean, she's a fun commander to play. She's never going to be fun to play against. I don't want to sit across from us in the command zone.
It's 5 for you and 5 for how fun it is to play against. You just can't go higher than a 5 with this.
If people bring out Elishnorn, I actively have to pick not to play like my Henzi deck. Like, it's like,
right, or I have to, heavily focus on killing her every time.
I can't even kill her with my Henzi.
You can't with that deck. Yeah, some decks can't.
My Henzi deck can't even interact with it. I literally would have to put it away and be like, I can't play this.
I'll play something else.
And this has about 10 amazing arts. You got Junji Ito, you got the Ink Splatter.
The black and white, darker one. I mean, Elishnorn is like the coolest, I think one of the 5 coolest Magic characters that's ever existed. So obviously her lore is a 10. She's the entire reason for this entire Phyrexian arc. She's building an evasion tree to destroy all the planes and turn them into more Phyrexias. How is that not amazing?
It is amazing. I mean, she's also just looks cool. Like, looks can be enough to make a character get higher, and it definitely doesn't hurt.
She would have to do very little to get a 10 already, and she's like the driving force behind the past 2 years of Magic.
Yes.
Now, there's only 2 commanders left, and you should definitely be able to tell which ones they are, but This next one is Drivnod Carnage Dominus. It's at 26 above Sakashima of 1,000 Faces and below Edgar Markov. 3 black for an 8/3. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And you've got black Phyrexian, exile 3 creatures cards from your graveyard, put an indestructible counter on it. Another one of the easiest, possibly the easiest way to get indestructible. And death triggers are pretty strong also. 3 hits and you're dead.
Yeah, this thing, death triggers, we know this to be a strong effect to double them up because of Teysa Karlov. She's an amazing commander. Power-wise, super strong. Could be annoying, especially if they go unanswered. And this one's even harder to answer because it just protects itself, making it extra strong. Again, we just lose points in the fun area. One, takes just basically on a Teysa. That is a miserable deck to play against when you can't stop it.
You have to kill it.
It's
not really an option.
And then the fact that this thing can't even be interacted with half the time, dang, it's annoying.
Urgency at which you need to kill these cards definitely impacts how fun they are.
Yeah, and this one, obviously, 10 for art. And what's the lore for this one there?
This is the big one that makes me go, how could this possibly not be aligned with Phyrexia? He sticks Phyrexians onto the spikes of his staff in very specific orders such that their screaming and agonistic wails create a symphony that pleases him. No, he's a good guy.
No, he's not a good guy, but he cannot be aligned with Phyrexia.
No, he's indifferent.
He can be a huge jerk that doesn't care about Phyrexia.
He's physically huge and is a jerk, but notably, Drivnod the Carnage Dominus is weaker than Yargle.
Yeah,
Yargle is strictly stronger.
Yeah, but Yargle can't become indestructible. Yargle always dies to lightning bolt.
Yargle always dies to lightning bolt. Drivnod only rarely dies to lightning bolt.
Yeah, exactly. He protects himself from that bolt. All right, number best commander in the set. Number 17.
Number 1. The number 17 commander of all time, ever, is Modrak Glory Dominus. Obviously, it's the last Dominus. Above Brea, below Queen Marchesa. 2 white for a 4/4. You make double tokens. And you can pay 1 white Phyrexian, and sacrifice 2 other creatures and or artifacts to then make this indestructible. That's kind of easy, especially when it's fueling you. This is one of the only ones that actually fuels you and says, here's tokens, now sacrifice them, make me indestructible. A lot of cheap ways to make tokens. This card is fair, fun, good, and just hyped.
Yeah, exactly. This kind of just covers all the categories. It's a 5. It's right in the middle for power. Doubling your tokens is a strong effect overall, but you have to still be making tokens to get something out of it. Something about all the dominances that we haven't mentioned is all of them are enablers, but not payoffs.
Which I greatly appreciate. I'm so sick of the enabler and the payoff stapled to the same card. Let me do some work. Let me feel accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. So you just get this going. And once you get it going, it is so strong. It's going to be super fun. What is not fun about this card? You're just going to make a ton of tokens. Mono white is going to keep it a little weaker than a deck that if this had like 2 or 3 more colors, this deck would be silly.
And you ask what's not fun about it? It loses a point for indestructibility, which is the 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and this is the 10 for art. Again, these all of them look amazing. All of Mondrak's arts look amazing. But again, I just go back to that. Whatever this Phyrexian showcase art is, this is like my favorite style of art in like the past 3 or 4 years. It's so cool.
Right, and to round out our comedic, non-deserved comedic reward for reading these lores, this one is melts your brain when you see it. And I want to picture. The best thing for me is to picture how this thing moves. Does it go like this and have to waddle, or does it roll around, which would be amazing?
I mean, yeah, they're kind of walking like this.
It's like a Phyrexian Ferris wheel. I need to see this thing moving.
Yeah, they move. They certainly imply that they can move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not scared of a 4/4 that can't move. Yeah, then it would have Defender.
Yeah, and this one is super, super unique overall in that doubling tokens on a commander is seen one other place, and this has another line of text that makes it even more unique.
Yeah, Mondrak's super great. I love this set. I love pretty much every commander in the set except for the duds. You know who you are. And if you want to check out the review of the non-commanders or Legends in the 99, we have a whole set review that I would think you would greatly benefit from watching.
Peace out, Tribe Scouts.